have
Hi,
a guest
everyone.
star. Yeah.
It's me.
Listen, last time you were on with us, we did not have the best quality because we didn't have a mic for you. So this time it's like official.
I think we had a mic, but we couldn't figure out how to make it right. Split it 3 ways.
Yeah, our splitter was like fucked up.
Something like that.
There was a problem. You know, it is what it is.
But now you're here, and this is hot for justice.
Hell yeah, it is. The Screen Recap Edition
with Jessica, Jamie, and Audrey.
I'm the newest edition, but maybe just for this one.
Oh no, I'm going to make you guest star on more episodes.
And
take notes.
Willing it into being.
Sorry.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about episode 5.
I know. It is 5.
Number 4.
Yeah, because that was the tsunami one, and Jess wasn't about that life.
I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
She repeatedly told me that she couldn't do that one.
So, to be fair, I did, start to watch it, and I watched, a third of it, and it does seem, a little interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, maybe I'll watch it, and if I decide that I can hang it, we can go back, but I, watched 5 minutes, and I was really not into it.
I think you just need to give it a little more of a chance, but because it's one of those might not be what it seems like situations.
Okay. All right. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see if I'm feeling froggy later.
What's so a tsunami hit and now is the island haunted by the people who died? What's the premises of that?
I honestly don't. I was half paying attention, but it was I said, kind of interesting. But kind of what it alludes to, at least the first 20 minutes of it was it actually a natural tsunami or nah, or what really happened?
Called
science,
right? So it's one of those things where who knows if it was a setup or if it was actually a thing.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
It was actually Russia. They did it.
I mean,
I'm just joking.
I'm sure Donald Trump would want you to believe that.
Right.
I was gonna say it, but I'm Audrey, don't go there.
It's okay. I will. I'll go there.
I will. But that's actually not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about The Lady in the Lake, which is the episode title for episode 5.
Yes.
So, who wants to start off?
I say we have the guest go first.
Okay. Bottoms up, Audrey.
Okay.
What you got? All your copious notes I watched you take.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, I know how important this podcast is to both of you, and so I went for it. I took notes. I was diligent. I made Tony on my drive over to your house, Jess, when we were going last week. I made Tony look up currents and what does water do when it freezes. Oh, I went for it because I was I'm gonna come in here with knowledge.
I like
oh my
it.
gosh.
So she can spit some real facts instead of us. We just say what we feel, and there's probably no actual basis to our opinions.
Well, and also specifically about that, Tony knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Tony can Google well. Let's.
Well, I thought he knew but he knows nautical terms and stuff about water currents and shit.
That's true.
Yes,
also,
that's what I
for
meant.
people who don't know, Tony is Audrey's fiance.
Yes.
Soon to be hubby.
Soon to be hubby.
The whole COVID thing has been fucking that up. So
my baby is screaming right now. She's cranky. So let's rock.
Okay. So my first, the strongest reaction I have of this recap or of the episode is the police are trash. This detective is trash. Everyone on this case, trash. Literally, I can't, I literally wrote this detective is trash. These police are trash. Oh man, it just every step of the way really frustrated me on how they handled the case.
Yeah. I agree.
And I don't know, do you guys recap of what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll start at the beginning. So
wow, fake fan alert. You don't even know how we do these. Damn.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I listened to your very first episode of this year because I knew you guys did some changes. And then I didn't see a recap pop up, so I didn't get a chance to listen to that. But
hope you can see our confused faces for those of you who aren't watching this on YouTube. Jamie and I are both gonna look up our podcast.
Yeah, I'm bothered.
and honestly, it might be a user error on my part because of all the podcasts that I listen to, all the episodes are way out of order. They come up to me like just not the newest.
Okay, it's up.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it. I see them.
Okay. Well, good. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I haven't listened to like the newest screen recap. So just Jamie, you want to just, overarching what happened to this woman?
So Joanne Romaine, she's 55 years old. She had 4 kids. She, it's just like a really weird like setup how this happens because they tell the story, but like it's kind of out of order. Anyways, this is 2010. I didn't write down how, but I guess the police were called. It looked like somebody had gone into the water. There was it was a river, and obviously it was winter and it was snowing, so it was super well, not snowing that night, but it was really cold. So there's snow on the ground. The water was frozen on the top, or frozen-ish, frozen adjacent.
It was I believe they called it like semi-frozen.
Yeah. Well, so it was 12 degrees that night, and it was in Michigan, so we're setting the scene. It's fucking cold.
Balls cold.
Yeah, it's really cold. Yeah.
They can see butt prints and like somebody sat down in the snow and handprints right next to it, and it looked like somebody had sat in the snow and then started going down this embankment into the water.
Booty scooched it down.
Yeah.
More or less.
So this is January 12th, 2010. I don't know if I said that already. So how they figure it out that it's Joanne is her car is kind of there, and it's parked really strangely on the side of the road across the street from a church she was attending, like their nightly prayer or prayer service.
Yeah.
So 7 p.m. prayer service. Her car was found running and abandoned.
With her purse like just chilling in it.
Yeah.
And like all of her shit in her purse. Like nothing was stolen. It didn't look
which is weird.
Other than it just sitting running with her not in it.
Mm-hmm. The cops went to go ask her kids if she was there or like if she was okay, and her kids were like, well, she's not here. So that's what I mean by it was kind of weird, because it wasn't like they noticed she was gone or whatever. Really, nobody would have noticed she had gone or gone in the water or gone in the water. I say that in air quotes. Or nobody would have really noticed if her car hadn't been like left so like haphazardly, I feel like.
Right. Like the cops show up at the house and they're like, hey, like, and this is at like 9:30, I think, or like 9:15, 9:30. It was late, and they were like, oh, like, where's mom? Like, she's been at church for like hella long. And then they were like, oh, hey, have you seen your mom lately? And they're like, well, she was just at church, but like, it has been a minute since she left. Like, the prayer service isn't that long.
Yeah, I said it was only 15 minutes, which Audrey and I like looked at each other and we were like, why would you go to church for 15 minutes?
What the hell? What kind of church service is only 15 minutes?
None that I've ever been to, I'll tell you that.
None that I've ever either. So anyway.
That's just weird to me, but I don't know.
It was weird to me too.
Really
but to each their own, or, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. No shame, no hate. Just saying, I wouldn't drive that far for a 15-minute service on a weeknight. For me, those are all like no's. I don't like to leave after I get home from work. So
right, but like I could be mistaken, but I think Joanne just kind of was like a stay-at-home mom type of thing. Well, I say stay-at-home mom, but like
because that's work. But yeah,
right.
She didn't have to like leave.
But her kids were adults. You know what I mean? So it's like she
all
was just
living
a
at
homemaker. Yeah. I guess
Sorry.
that's the word for it.
I shouldn't be making that face because I do know how hard it is to get out, out in society.
Well, they're also
but
like,
man,
those people are very Italian. So like, you know.
Oh, they are. Yes.
So that's also like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As I say to the Italian person.
Yeah, you do.
Sitting across from me at Zoom.
Listen, I was half of my family is Italian, the other half is very European, where it's like you're raised independent, you don't rely on anybody, you make your own way, and that was like drilled into me from a young age. So yes, I do understand that. I just was like, oh my God, every person, and I guess that's why I can't relate. All 4 kids, late 20s, still living at home.
Right, and these are very like Catholic Italians. So these people, like this, I wasn't shocked by that information. Like, I mean, it was a little like, okay, you're literally like almost 30, but like, but I mean, none of them were married, so I don't know.
I love my parents, but it's hard to live, like, it's hard for them too to live with you because you're an adult and you have your own habits and like you have, you know, you just need your space to do your own thing. But anyways, I digress. We digress. So her family goes to the church and, like Jamie was saying, sees the car, the purse is in the car is like in the parking lot, and they have pictures
parked very half-assedly, like
it's
not
weird.
A normal park job, like it
just looks like
where
somebody was
someone
in a rush.
would notice.
Right. But then there's like, they say that they fingerprint the car and like nothing comes up from it like at all that's abnormal or usable.
Oh my God.
That's the word he uses a lot, is usable.
Usable. No fingerprints that are usable. That so one, I'm pretty sure they only fingerprint the outside of the car because they didn't even fingerprint the purse.
Well, no, and like when they ask, and they like specifically ask him like, oh, did you do the inside of the car? And he said, and then he thinks about it for like 2 seconds and then says, we didn't come up with anything usable.
Yeah. And like in my mind, I'm like, trash. You are trash.
Well, they just don't do their due diligence by any means to make this one way or the other, because it's not like we're glued to one scenario, you know?
No.
Like, you just want to know what the truth is, because if their mom committed suicide, they deserve to know that, and like that's something they have to heal from. But then if their mom was murdered, then that's a different set of like things you have to heal from, and like you know, that you have to come to terms with.
Or if
so
it was
just like
an accident,
trash. Yeah, that
was
too
also feasible.
But so they just say she
but,
walked into the water.
Yeah, that's all the cops say. And
it's
there's
1 to 2 feet. And she did that to commit suicide. So if the water is 1 to 2 feet, please, dear Lord, tell me it's cold. How are you effectively going to commit suicide?
Right.
And the water is semi-frozen.
Yeah, so she would have had to walk farther, a little like farther out.
That would have been so cold.
Well, and they like reenact it because like she was wearing like 4-inch heels.
Yeah,
like they pull a chick out there who was wearing 4-inch heels, and during non-winter time, mind you, and like
she had to have help getting down. Audrey has to tell a story about this.
Oh boy.
I had so much anxiety watching that scene. So it's this lady, and she is a hefty lady. It's not like she's a supermodel, you know, like stick thin and like just like walking down catwalks, normal 4-inch heels. Like, no, this is a normal human being.
And also, like, Joanne is like a plus size woman. Like, she's not a tiny person. So I think this was a pretty fair representation of. So let me just make that
of someone.
That's what they were trying, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, they were trying to reenact it. So this was, I don't know when this was, but no snow, and she's walking down this super steep embankment.
Yeah,
like
there's no
something
way.
I would
like it's
never,
a good like 45-degree
do.
Angle.
Yes, yes. And this guy is helping her down. He's walking in front of her, holding her hands, like kind of like you would do when you're first starting out skiing. You know, your instructor kind of holds you and guides you down, and they go backwards.
So no, I actually never had that experience. The first time I went skiing, my instructor shoved me down a blue triangle or whatever the fuck it is, and then I hit a tree and almost died.
Jamie, remember we had this conversation. She was not allowed to go skiing.
Jamie.
So,
okay.
Audrey, no, that's not a relatable experience. Can you please try again?
Yes. Okay, so when you're a child learning to walk,
there you go.
Better.
Your parents, or an adult is in front of you holding your hands and walking backwards as you walk forward.
Right. He was like fully bracing her body weight.
Fully bracing her. And she is already turning her ankle. And I have a thing about turned ankles because I have an injured ankle. So every time I see someone baby deer walk in high heels, it gives me instant heart palpitations, and I just have to look away.
She was like
I was so shell shocked. I was like, please.
I even wrote it in my notes. Audrey panics, ankle PTSD.
Yes.
So similarly, I was watching this going, if this was me, I would die.
Right.
If this was me, I would die.
She would either slide her ass right into that water. She wouldn't even have to try. Or I don't know, but listen.
So that's why I say, if anything, it's feasible that this was an accident. Like, at least this is what I thought at first.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Until we learn about where the body was found.
Right. So we'll back up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no signs of a struggle. There's no scuff or drag marks to indicate a struggle or that she was dragged over to the water and thrown in the water.
Timeout. Really. And that's what the beginning of this episode tells us, is that there's no signs of a struggle.
Yeah, but
later we'll learn that's not
there. True. I'm getting there. Calm your tits.
No.
Grab them and calm them down.
Absolutely not.
I will do no such thing.
Oh, Jesus. Look what I started. Okay, so she would have, like we were talking about, would have had a sit down scooch, or she would have just like dive bombed into the water. But if it was only 1 or 2 feet, she probably would have broke her neck or something first.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
So we're gonna step back and do a timeline really quick, because the timeline is important, because there's some things like witnesses that they see things and it's weird.
Correct.
Joanne drops the brother off at home and she goes to get gas. This is at 6 o'clock. That's confirmed by the gas attendant. She comes in, gets gas. 7 o'clock, she's seen at prayer service. She goes to church, witness confirms it. 7:15, she's gone. She's leaving. And then one of the last people to leave the church service comes out, sees her car and the car alarm going off and lights flashing. They don't see Joanne. They just kind of discount it because they don't see anything. Just the car alarm going off, which you would ignore that too. It's not like you can do anything.
Yeah, it's not only goes on for like 30 seconds and then it moves on.
It goes off. Yeah. And then let's see. At 7:35, a witness leaving says the parking lot's empty. So that means her Lexus left and came back to the parking lot. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, it said she had attempted to contact a security service, and she seemed scared or like paranoid. So if she was trying to contact a security service, she's obviously feeling threatened or maybe followed. I don't know. And then 70 days later, they find her body in March of 2010. So her body, it's just that this part is what sticks. Like, I don't understand. She's found in Boblo Island. It's 35 miles away from where she went into the water. And when she went into the water, they immediately launched a search and rescue. When it, like they searched
like that night,
and they did it for like, I think 2 weeks or something like that. It's not like they just kind of piddled around and called it good. Like, they looked for her.
Yeah, like they said it was like the most extensive search of any kind like that whole department had ever done.
And 35 miles? There's just no way. Okay, I don't know though. You talked to Tony about currents. What did he have to say?
I did, because I was really like, again, very skeptical. These police are trash. Maybe I should stop saying that. Maybe I should say that they're understaffed, they're not prepared.
Listen, you can just say they did not completely do their job.
I just have zero confidence that they conducted this investigation well. And so that's why I was like, when the detective said there's no current, that's a fucking lie. How does it feed the rivers then?
Yeah, they do say
there
that.
has to be a current.
Because it was so cold. So I'm assuming the top layer of the water was frozen, and underneath that was the current. But
exactly. And riddle me this. How do you conduct an extensive search when you can't even get down into the lake because it's frozen?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so it's the Detroit River, right?
Yes.
He was found on. So that's actually, you cannot swim in that river. It is one of the fastest rivers in the U.S. So it's deemed unswimmable because it's so fast. The currents are so fast.
Damn.
So knowing all of that, I was like, all right, she could have been pushed in, chased in, fell in, whatever, at that point or near her point, and still end up over there. Again, I have a better theory down the road when things start, like panning out. But it just was so irking to me that the police kept saying there's no current, so she's not going anywhere. Her body wouldn't have gone anywhere. Like, I barely know anything about that area, and I'm pretty sure there's a current.
Yeah.
Well, that's how nature and science works, right? Like,
yeah, right?
No way.
I mean, I never took earth science, but like, if I had to venture a guess, I'd say
exactly.
That's how like gravity and shit works, right?
Yes.
And the tides, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Weird. Okay, well, that's valid. They cannot determine her cause of death. So they ruled they can't determine her time of death, but they rule it a freshwater drowning, which is weird to me. If she was mostly intact, they should be able to tell if there was water in her lungs or not when she died.
So there was, but they said that because of how long it had been since how decomposed the body was, that it was hard to determine if the water was there post-mortem or not.
Okay. So it says, also they say she could have been dead entering the water. There were bruises on her left arm, but they're not sure again what they're from.
If they were pre or post-mortem.
Yeah. My question at this point, when we were watching this, who fills their car up and then commits suicide?
Yes. Who does that? No
Great
one.
Question.
No one does.
Unless you're like completely dead ass out of gas. Who cares?
But then wouldn't you fill up like just a smidgen, like a skosh, like this thing was all the way up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and to go into icy water, that has to be something you think about. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
you have to commit to. You have to think about. You have to say, "I'm going into that water," and that's it. Not like
there's way easier ways.
Today sucked. I think that water. I'm just gonna like walk into it. No, like you have to really think about this and know that this is how you're gonna go out.
Well, you do have to commit, because that's not going to either be like a quick death. That's going to be cold. You're going to have to go out. They said what, like 100 or 200 meters, and walk out that far, and then drown yourself. Which, granted, if it's that cold, your body would start to
shut down.
I think you would start getting hypothermia first, and that would be really the issue.
Yeah.
But another interesting thing. So, we were talking, or Jamie was mentioning, her designer purse,
like new designer purse.
She just got it 6 weeks prior, was ripped. She wore the bag on her left arm. Bruises, purse.
Where the bruises were,
Sus. Police did not examine the purse.
So sus.
Trash.
Well, so no. They looked at it and said there was no sign of a struggle, and that the damage to it did not appear to be that of someone who was trying to pull it off of her. And then the daughter shows it and says, "Hello."
Right, you can see
this is how she wore it.
Dead ass.
This is where the rip is.
The rip is literally right at the top, right next to the zipper.
Right at the top. Just like how someone would clutch the purse, like, or like if someone grabbed her arm and grabbed the purse and was like, kind of like jerking her around, that easily indication of a struggle, something happening, something going wrong. Trash detective work.
Her phone and rosary are missing.
No, they were zipped up in her pockets.
No, her keys were, but not her phone or her rosary. Yes, I wrote that down because Audrey and I were talking about this too. We like both looked at each other at the same time. It was kind of creepy. But so, you know, they're going through theories like, well, maybe she was abducted in the parking lot, which is, you know, her alarms going off, whatever.
Right.
They take her to another location, drop her in. That's like, you know, it would be farther down the river, so it wouldn't be as far for her to travel, and then brought her car back. But that's not possible because her keys were in her,
or with her,
were in her jacket. So yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And they say, I mean, looking from the snow, it didn't seem like there was a struggle, and I feel like that would be fairly easy to see. And that, I don't know how far they looked around like that area though. That's the thing. If the cops obviously didn't really do their due diligence in the first place, I just thought that was weird.
Yeah. No, I didn't like that either. TBH.
I don't really know. I mean, so her family hires an ex FBI agent or retired, and to, you know, be basically their PI, and they're going through all these scenarios, and so they're kind of getting into like suspects, I guess. Now we can talk about.
Yeah.
I just want to note that was like the best thing the daughters could have done was hire this guy, because he's like, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, this is standard procedure. They didn't, you know, like they for those who haven't seen the episode, the footprints, normally you measure the footprints to try to identify if it's a man, a female, the weight, the height, all that jazz. They didn't do any of that. So for them to automatically assume that was her footprints, it just trash.
She would have had a really unique footprint with heels on.
With 4-inch heels,
And to me, the footprints that they took, they had like one picture, they had no scalable pictures.
Yeah.
They were boots. That's the weird thing. So I just don't like it. And then, so then I wrote down in the beginning, they interview her brother. He's fucking sus. I'm sorry to say it. He is, he's saying what she's his favorite sister, and he just has this weird demeanor. Maybe that's just him. I don't know. I didn't like it.
But you know who
pick up on that?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, but you know who I like less? The fucking cousin.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, but let's back up. The brother owed a lot of money to a lot of people. Joanne was his favorite sister, and sometimes she'd bail him out financially.
Yep, always help him in whatever situation.
However, I feel like if people knew that and he owed people money, why get rid of the source of his money?
Right. That's why I don't think he's involved. And also, but he makes like a weird statement too, and I don't like the way he said it. He was like, I just wish it was me and not her.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, I think he at least knows something.
Yes.
Like, I don't think he was directly involved, but I think he knows.
Yeah. Like when he's first introduced, I didn't really pick up a weird vibe like Jess did, but then he said something towards the end of the episode. And he said something, or I think the interviewer asked him, you know, like, did you have something to do with it? Do you think it was because of you? And he was like, no. And I don't understand why anybody would think that it was because of me. And he said something non-remorseful. And I can't remember, I wonder if I wrote it down, but it irked me as like, I don't have control over what other people do. That's what he said.
He did say that. And it just...
And I was like, what? And it just immediately red flags went off, and I was like, that's a psycho thing to say. Because if it was me, and if someone close to me died, and I maybe had something to do with it or knew, I'd be like tearing myself apart over it. Not like, I don't have control over other people and what they don't and do not do. I'm like,
That's the thing of it, though. I think he's got like some sort of like maybe he doesn't have empathy. Maybe he's like
could be.
I don't know.
A lot of people don't have that. Yeah.
I don't know, but the cousin Tim M. He's rude. He's a cop, which could also explain why. I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying
collusion.
Yes, that was the word that's like going off in my brain.
That was great. The word we're looking for.
Today's word of the day is fucking collusion.
There were family issues over inheritance. They were in court. She had an argument against him a few weeks before. She said she was afraid of him.
Yeah, and she fucking looks at her daughter point blank in the face and says, if anything happens to me, it's fucking Tim.
Yeah. So.
And guess what?
Guess what?
So yeah, I mean, the FBI investigator said he can't determine one way or the other, and you know, he told them when he was hired that he would, you know, look for the truth, and if it wasn't what they wanted to hear, like that was just kind of too bad. The detective was very like nonchalant, like, yeah, we did what we did. It was a suicide. Like what? And I think that was a big problem, is they just thought that from the very beginning, and they didn't do all of these extra things. Her family said she was not having mental health issues, and they were really firm in that. I don't know.
I don't like it.
Don't like it either. I really didn't know what to think.
It was fucking Tim. Or at least, you know, if it wasn't him, it was directly related to him.
It's just all like really sus.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like,
I have a theory, but it is so loose.
What's your theory?
Let's hear it.
So because the car, you know, was parked so weirdly on the other side of the church, like it looked like it was rushed, how it was parked. And so my theory is she came out of church, someone grabbed her, and there was at least 2 people trying to abduct her, and her car alarm went off. So they panicked, shoved her into her car, and drove away with the car and her. And whether it be, you know, like Tim, her brother, someone else, I don't know, holding her not to kill her, but for something else, and then accidentally killing her, and then realize, shit, we killed her, what do we do now? And then in a panic, drive her car back to the church really quick, walk out to the water like someone walked out to the water, and then go back and dump her body like near the Detroit River, so it'll be swept away really quickly, and hoping that no one will find it, because that river goes for so long and it's so fast, but that luckily, you know, it washed up on that island. That's my theory. So they would have had
to like drop her off and then take her car back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking like there's only one guy needs to go and take his car back, because I'm sure, like, how did they get to the church? You know, they had to have some kind of, so maybe taking that car back and then zipping up the car, the car keys and stuff in her pocket, and then just tossing her in the river. That's my theory. That would have been so loose.
Harder, but I mean, it's a valid, like, it's sense. I feel like it's solid. It's hard though to just plop a body though, like a dead body. It would have had
there's more than one.
Well, yeah, that's true. So you're saying that they dropped her somewhere else too, so probably in an area that would have been more accessible to drop a body.
Yes, and one where the current will take her, thinking like
they'll never find her.
Right, like,
and
especially
if it's like so far away.
Yeah, because over there also it was less frozen, so it would be easier to get the body into the water. Because that's my other thing too, is if it was an accident or an intentional, like a suicide, like you said, like the distance that she would have had to get out there to like be
carried away.
Yeah.
That's a word.
Yeah, but it's a word. I don't know if it's the right one, but
yeah. Like for me, if she truly had gone in the water there and they searched for her extensively, like initially a body will go down, like it'll drop down if you drown, and then you will come back up because of all the natural gases, and you will float. So I feel like if she had indeed been there, even with taking into account a current, I feel like they would have found her.
Right.
I mean,
like,
depending on how
point of saying the water's very clear and everything too.
Their
like
search was, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like I read that I was reading like this forensics book because I'm a nerd. Jamie, you read it too. It was like part of that book club that never like took off. I think I was the only one that finished the book actually.
I read like 2/3 of it.
But that was like part of it. That was in that book.
It was.
They talk about that bodies almost always, if they enter the water, will float back up.
Yeah.
Unless they're caught on something or weighed down, obviously.
Weighed down. Mm-hmm.
And even then, I mean, you know, nature finds a way, and
yeah,
it just happens.
And going back to the 4-inch heels thing, so just like we were talking before, is, you know, the water there was most likely frozen, and she would have had to walk so far out to actually get into some kind of, in 4-inch heels in a rocky lake bottom. Yeah.
And there's no damage done to the shoes. Like the shoes are in like almost pristine condition when she's recovered.
So I just,
to be honest, if I were her, I would have said, if you're gonna kill yourself anyway, fuck it, take your shoes off and walk down. It would have made it easier.
Right.
You're already gonna be cold.
This jacket.
Like,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No.
Chucking everything off.
Yeah.
Like, do you really want to hurt yourself and break your foot before you try to like?
Oh my. Oh no.
Listen, I get it. I have PTSD from my ankles too.
Yeah, no, this just sounds like a ow. Anyways,
I'm leaning towards not suicide.
I'm leaning towards
I'm gonna go ahead and say that one can be ruled out.
Yeah.
Anyways, Zachary's home, so I think that's our cue to wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you, Audrey, for coming on with us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Fun.
Please do it again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Well, we'll catch you next week.
Okay. Bye.